hectic schedule because I know you have a full house with about what, 4 kids?
Yeah, three. We got three.
Three,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So
That's okay.
you are on a very tight shift.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's an honor.
I am so proud of the both of you. You are my favorite Liberian power couple on social media. I want you to know that.
Thank you very much. Mm,
It's a pleasure.
thank
And
you.
so, Joe, let me go ahead and introduce my dear friend and brother and his lovely wife. I'm
Okay.
sure you might have taken a glimpse of Sam's professional profile. His credentials are very impeccable. I'm impressed. I did not know that we had such um, very outstanding Liberians on social media, but you all keep a very low profile.
Mm,
And so Sam is vice president, correct me if I'm wrong, with JP Morgan. Am I right?
yes, that's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your wife?
Yeah. My wife, you can, she's CEO of Claire Golding. The website, company website is claregolding.com, CLAREGOLDN.com. And my wife was born in the Congo. Okay.
Interesting.
Well, she traveled around the world. She went to school in Zambia, came out to the States, but she always had an entrepreneur kind of like spirit. She was a designer. She has done different things. And I met my wife. She was involved heavily in a lot of humanitarian work for Liberia. Firstly, during the Ebola crisis, that's how I met her. Because of the work that she had done with a nonprofit to raise funds, substantial amount of funding for Liberians, right, during the Ebola crisis. She was given an award from a Liberian organization, and I went to that award, and it's where I met her, right? And the thing is, she had more Liberian friends than I had, and I thought she was, and I thought she was from Liberia because she had like over 4,000 friends, and about 80% of them were all Liberians. So I thought she was Liberian girl, and that's how we started like being friends. And then a couple of years later, the both of us we had hooked up and found out that we had a lot of interest. She was into humanitarianism. I was
Mhm.
into humanitarianism. I was doing the fashion designer thing with my clothing humanitarian line. She was doing the same thing, and then it's like a match made in heaven, and we have a lot of stuff in congruence. And she's my better half, but she can, with almost what I do, let's speak mostly for you,
Thank you, Jim. I think we say
I,
everything.
uh-huh.
Yeah,
And
you're,
and I
you're a beautiful couple.
Thank
you
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 so much.
you I will assume that you were predestined to be together because from what I observe, you are each other's soulmate,
Yes.
yes, indeed.
and it makes a significant difference in
Yeah,
these times.
yeah.
And I can tell that the both of you are very young too, and that's what warmed my heart to see young African couples
Mhm.
together making things happen. And I also observed that she is a thriving entrepreneur. I
Mhm.
observe you have several billboards back home.
Mhm.
Yes.
So you just launched some products, didn't you? Are they cosmetics or medical?
So we have several businesses. One that we do beauty products like organic shampoos. We have PP business as well, and this mask and hand sanitizers and stuff like that. But mostly our PP we do also mostly we sell to hospitals and
Schools, government
government
agencies.
agencies, but
Mhm.
for a beauty product, that's what we push usually on social media. We sell to individuals and salon owners. So yeah, that's about
And,
it.
and we're in Walmart. We're a Walmart vendor. We're in Walmart USA. We're building
Mhm.
Oh,
Walmart.
you're in Walmart?
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
Wow.
Oh.
We're in Walmart, and we're 5-star rated
Britain and Walmart.
in a Walmart. They really like what we're doing, and now so a big thing for us had to do with capacity building. You know,
Hmm.
but COVID sort of like have retarded the progress or the timeline. In our timeline continuum, where we wanted to
Hmm.
start. But like we always keep focused, and this is not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Right.
So when COVID started like dwindling down in Africa, or was not as bad as in the developed world, we decided now is the most opportune and auspicious time to start engaging, Africa now, right? Because when we first launched, the thing is, most of our buyers came from Africa, right? The East, Central, Southern region. So we
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of following, and we said, okay, well, but we have to work out the logistics. We have to work out, and we have lots of requests. Even like my wife, in Africa, she has a lot of following from South Africa to Cameroon. She's been featured in magazines because the product that we have,
Wow.
it works out of the box, especially the shampoo. It works. It's very, very good. So we do a lot of shipment, and then we'll soon be launching. We have Liberia, we have Zambia, we have the Congo,
Nigeria.
and Nigeria, right? But we're going to spread out. But those are people who will be working just a partnership agreement, the logistics, and all of those modalities. Once they're in place, then we're going to do the official launch in a few months, and then it will just be something that we'll have throughout all the respective regions.
So I assume you guys have done uh, your SWOT analysis, as they call it.
Yes, yeah. We've done a lot of the SWOT analysis. We have basic matrices of things that are like favorable, things that are not favorable, the competitors, the market analysis, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Done gauging various projection, and we've done those things. And like I've said earlier, this has been the most opportune time now to embark. And we're very methodical in things that we kind of do. We don't rush things, right? We do our homework.
Right.
But we feel things are much more favorable now to engage. We start a process. It was kind of a blessing with the COVID, right? Because we wanted to. Sometimes you start things, you get emotional, and then you want to kind of act. But at times, rushing and being expedient in pushing forth, things in your continuum might not be ideal. But COVID was a blessing in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
And we rethink some of our strategies, because if we had embarked on some things, COVID would have cut off guard, and it would have been a disaster, especially when it came to logistics.
Okay.
So that kind of worked in our favor, and we're able to light on learning of the experience that we had with the COVID experience, and everything worked out in our favor now that the way has been clear now to embark on the latter phase
and expand to some African countries. There was a lot of requests when we launched our product, but we didn't want to rush and just expand to African countries. We wanted
Mm-hmm.
to, how we wanted to make sure, because this is our baby. Once you send your product somewhere where you're not there, it takes a lot of courage. So we wanted to do our due diligence, make sure we having good distributors that would take care of our customers and treat our product like their own. So now
Okay.
we felt very comfortable. Probably last month, that's when we pushed our product to Africa, and we started with Zambia, but we're going because there's a lot of requests, a lot of
buyers who
distributors,
bought already.
right?
Mm.
So
Okay.
the both of you are what I call trailblazers. You took a leap of faith. I know trying to get business done on the continent can be a challenge.
Mhm.
And so for that, again, I applaud the both of you. And Joe, is there something, is there any question you would like to ask them?
So what sort of products? I think I missed that part. What sort of products are they? Are they like skincare products?
Yeah. So if you clear CLAREGOLDN ClareGolden.com, and not bad for not putting the
Okay.
link to a couple of our website, but CLAREGOLDN ClareGolden.com, and also ClaraOrganicGolden.com, CLARAGOLDEN organic. Well, I'll post the link, but there's two. But we
Okay.
have two different companies, Claire Golden LLC. Claire Golden deals with PPE, so we manufacture our own PPE, right? Anywhere from the hand sanitizer, the mask, the gloves, the hand dispenser, the touch-free dispenser you see in
Mhm.
the markets and store where it's sensor activated, the one you mount to wall, the disinfectants, so on and so forth, a broad array of those products, right? So most of the, especially during COVID-19, It was good money for us because we're able to capitalize in terms of making America safe in other aspects of the world. We even try to work some deals with folks in Liberia, some deals with the Red Cross, some agents came that represented the Liberian government. We're open to engaging and make things out for them, to help. And then we also did a lot of donations to schools at the heart of COVID. We're based in New York, but we also have other places around North Carolina, Texas, and New York. Those are the three places that we're based because we have, our supply chain, and we also have, we do some in-house production, and we also do some stuff, overseas. But yeah, and then with the beauty products, so from the PPE, we have the beauty product, we have shampoo, we have the ASC mask. And one thing with our product, we make products that are not harmful. They're all free of contaminants. They're all free of toxins. We rigorously and meticulously goes through the EWR database and other database that they have out there that have the list of all. So what we do, we look at trending products, right? And we look at products that trending in the sense that the big names have them out there on the shelves. But what's adverse to these products is that people are not informed with the harmful chemicals that they put in it. For example, with the shampoo, people have silicone, people have the sodium lauryl sulfates, the SLS, or the laureth, right? Or the propylene glycol. The same thing you see in antifreeze and tar, people putting it in the shampoos. The same thing you see in like formaldehyde, right? That they used to embalm back in the day, or even in some places nowadays, having in their shampoo, phthalates, all those things, parabens, right? Animal testing, we avoid all those things respectively. And even in the hand sanitizer, right? For the COVID, right? Everywhere you go now, it was, the demand for it was very high. But you found out that not all hand sanitizers are created equally. Most of them, you found on the markets, even some of the big names that I'm not going to call, here. But most of them have benzene in it, and benzene is known to be a very positive, corrosive agent that also is carcinogenic, right? But we have those in their ingredients. So one thing we do, we always exercise our due diligence and do a lot of research. But our goal is not to say we're only moving and selling product, but we want things that are harmonious to nature, things that are harmonious to the human body and the environment. So that's big, for us. And if you look at a company like a Bird Bee, that's sort of like a very similar kind of business kind of model. In terms of doing things that are harmonious to the environment and to kind of nature. So that's one of our modus operandi.
So that's a socially responsible and environmentally friendly arc to your business.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. That makes a great deal of difference,
Yes.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I did not ask you all to please send me a list of your products so that the next time I'm in Walmart, I will definitely support you all.
He says he's got a website. They've got a website, and he's gonna.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. Please send that to me, okay?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And for not adding that, when I send out the information to Chris, my bad. My apologies. Sorry, sweetie.
Okay.
Okay.
Joe, I was looking at your profile. This is a Massaquoi. You've got a pretty strong technology background, and that's something. That's another business that can be used in Liberia because a lot of the problems, some of the problems that we have in Liberia, that problem comes from the fact that there's no technological response to it. Like, for instance, people talk about land thievery. There's fraud in, this the sale of land and all that. Blockchain technology can take care of that.
Exactly.
But you don't hear about it in Liberia and even most African countries. That's the answer right there.
Yes.
And like we always say, every problem in Liberia has been solved somewhere else. Every problem we got there there's been a solution.
Yes.
So has there, you said the last time you were there was like 2010. Is this something that you thought about?
Yes. You see, the thing is, right, my wife and I, we keep things private. Not that we're not engaging, we engage behind the scenes, but most of the time, we don't. Maybe I don't know what we evaluate whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, or whether or not we
Mhm.
should be we should put more stuff out there for people to know. Because within
Right.
that, if people don't know, they can connect with you and build different synergies, right?
Mhm.
But I've been in IT. I'm 44 years of age. 44 years young. My birthday was April 1st. I'm 44 years. I've been in IT for over 20 years. I got in very early, and I came in at a very good time at the turn of the millennium. When the world was changing in terms of technology from Web 2.0 to 3.0.
Mhm.
The latest and greatest methodology, things leading from coaxial to fiber optics, and all of those things now that make the IoT, the Internet of Things, very
Right.
exciting in the way that it is now, that the world is even smaller. Now it's been very disruptive, giving people opportunity where infrastructures were not built on technology, bridges, all those things. And
Mhm.
now empower people to be self-entrepreneur and even be a media powerhouse without having all the architecture and the infrastructure in place, right? So I think at the right time, came very young, got in at 19, 19 years old. Learned everything. Well, I went to get my formal training, got MS in CS at a
Mhm.
very young age of 22, 24. But much of the knowledge that was acquired was self-taught. Back in the day, like I always tell my wife, that, hey, when we were coming up, man, they had an internet, but internet never really had all the things available, the resources now. Right now, you can go online, you can go to like universities online with video tutorials that are all interactive. You can go to,
Mhm.
back in my day when we were coming up, they never had all those things available. You had to go to the library, you had to buy books. You had to learn everything. So matter of discipline. It was that's one form of hard work. So all those things pay dividends. You can always stay in the course, be kind of focused, and God will see you kind of through. But in
Mhm.
going to not to digress, but in focusing on your question at hand, um, in my 20 years, over 20 years of IT, I was fortunate enough to have gotten through in and every aspect of the full stack, like they said, all spectrum of technology, and I was fortunate to have worked for very good companies, Fortune 50 companies, Fortune 10, Fortune 100 companies. Even on my profile, I don't have the likes of the American Express, the likes of the ADP,
Mhm.
so on and so forth, right? Because those something I didn't want it to be too verbose and lengthy. But long story short, having to come into those companies, understand how the system kind of works, the
Right.
structure that they had was a great valuable experience. So anything from cloud, currently now I'm doing a lot of cloud and machine learning, in my current capacity. Um, I, well, the company I work for, they're the lead in America and number six in the world in terms of
Mhm.
banking. And my job is to make sure that I'm building off the infrastructure to make sure they stay competitive and they have the edge with their competitors, as well as doing things out of box. With the array of products and things that services that we offer to the world. And then also I'm very big on blockchain. I'm a blockchain architect, and to my name and credit, we have our coin, which was launched. It's a diamondback innovative crypto coin called GenCash that I developed 2018. It was diamondback. It was the first stable coin before the word stable coin was even into like widespread kind of usage. It was diamondback with type 2 diamonds all involved. Very impressive technology that had 4 pending patents. And the group was backed by Merrill Lynch Investment,
Mhm.
about a million. And then when Bitcoin peaked and then it started going down, the board of directors put the project on hold. Now that they're going to start again, that Bitcoin cryptocurrency is speaking back again. But I also manage a blockchain team, right?
Mhm.
We have our proprietary blockchain and the benchmark against the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, the Hyperledger. The benchmark in comparison, we were like very, very much ahead in most of things that they do not do. And our blockchain is very innovative. And now we even have a new, which I think going to be very disruptive, kind of like a green blockchain, right? for a lot of, we see a lot of blockchain that comes with a lot of mining that goes
Right.
on the aspect of blockchain that deals with, monetizing things, right? You have like Bitcoin, the mining, people use a lot of resources, the Tron, to name all this other cryptocurrencies that people use with one
Now,
machine.
now Mr. Massaquoi, could you, for the sake of our audience, could you, in layman's term, explain to them what blockchain is
Okay.
and link the blockchain application to say land transaction, banking transaction, so they can understand what this technology is.
Yes.
Okay, sure thing, right? So blockchain is nothing more than like a ledger. Like a ledger, for example, if you have like your susu or your bank or things that you have that record information and put it somewhere, right, like a book or like bookkeeping, right? But the thing with blockchain has to do with the fact that it's immutable. Immutable means that once I store information on a ledger, that information I can change it, right? And the thing with blockchain has to do with the integrity that is something that is not central, it's decentralized, right? That if for example, right, I can have all my process in one area that's not centralized, right? Like a bank. But then if something happens to the bank, now let's say there are 20 people part of that consortium, right? That means that if one person is that source of truth, they're holding that information, they can cook the books, change the information, then that means everybody else can see it.
Right.
So blockchain technology became very popular. It started coming around about 2008, right? You're a guy, Satoshi Nakamoto, some mysterious kind of guy that people
Yeah.
but it became very popular during the subprime issues, right? Where banks started filling, right? You said like, hey, all the big banks, Erie City Bank was going down, Lehman Brothers went down, but all the smaller banks, they were all going down, right? And then people said, "But wait a minute! Just 2 months ago, I had 300,000 in this bank, and I'm supposed to trust the bank. Why now today you're telling me that this bank is closing and I'm losing my money? Only guarantee any money the government secure me with, right?" So then the aspect of blockchain, they say, hey, you know what? Now we're going to change all that thing, right? Any and every information. So blockchain in layman terms would be like, instead of one person having copy of all the transaction that is going on, everybody going to have a copy of it. So if any money is deposited or any money is transferred, they will update everybody, right? So everybody will have a copy. So it's all dispersed.
So if I sell a land to Chris Jackson,
yeah,
and we're on the blockchain, there's no way that I can take that deed and go and sell it to someone else because he will see the transaction going on, right?
Yeah. Yes, and the thing also with blockchain. So I'm working on a couple of projects as we speak, right? One, there's a group, like I say, a lot of engaging things we do, but we don't put forth for social media sometimes because of confidentiality. But we'll answer exactly the land dispute, right? There's an organization called the African Chamber of Digital Commerce, right? That I'm a board advisory member, and we talk to different African governments. We're working on a project with the Nigerian government to address the land issue. So how blockchain helps in that sense, one of the problems that people have throughout Africa, including Liberia, had to do with the fact of different deeds, right? For example, a guy sells you land. It might happen to you. It's happened to a member of my family. Somebody gives you a deed. You go, you build your land, and then you build a house on the land, and then the next thing, 3-6 months later, a guy comes, takes you to the Ministry of Lands and Mines or Comparable, and they say, hey, this guy does not have the true deed of this, that.
There's a graphic example on Facebook. This Liberian guy went and bought a land, and he thought the transaction was above board. And man, he built, I think it's like a 2-story house. And you see this tractor coming, the guy who owns the land, and just bulldozing the 2-story house down.
Exactly. So
yeah.
So how blockchain solved that problem? The first thing is, before you put something on the ledger, there's something where you SHA, right? SHA is sort of like some kind of encryption that is, because everything that's on the blockchain is unique, right? it's unique. That's that level of uniqueness to it. So if you had like a deed or you did it, so all of these, imagine now if you say, hey, let's go, how can you go and fish the problem like there, right? The first thing, once the land had gotten surveyed, you have access to the deeds, right?
Right.
Deeds that are there currently, you digitize that deed, right? You shot deed with a process that is very unique. I don't want to go into technical terms, but just in layman term.
Mm-hmm.
You shot that process, you encrypt that deed, right? Into this information that we store on the blockchain, right? And that deed is unique. That if anybody were to come to say, hey, I want to buy a land, now they got to go through the process to say, hey, I'm going to give this guy a copy of a deed, or I have a platform with the Ministry of National Archives or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a key, you'll be able to validate that key that you have, that key can validate against the deed that is there, right?
Right.
That's already encrypted, and a certain alphanumeric representation of it that when you give, it's sort of like a lock and kind of key. You know how you
Mm-hmm.
have like authentication when you log into something to say, hey, we're going to send you a code, right? That it is
Right.
you, that you authenticate to unlock that this is you. So that way, number one, you're going to kill all the process of people getting you fake deeds, right? Because if somebody is an actual landowner, you can give that
Mm-hmm.
person a certificate, right? And that certificate, if somebody wants to buy, you want to sell that land to whoever, you can say, I'm selling this land. This land comes with this encrypted certificate, and you can decrypt this certificate against what we have on the archive. Because if that thing they're giving you and it's unique, if it's not the right key, the decrypt against what you have on the blockchain, right? Then that means that this is not the real thing. It's like counterfeit, right? But if
Right.
it's 100%, and only you can have that key, right, to be able to decrypt or like decode. But
Right.
all the records are in the blockchain, and the blockchain is something that, whether or not is we as administration or whatever administration or any subsequent administration, it is unique, and nobody can go and quote the book because everybody who's a representative and sharing aspect of that blockchain, that record stays the same. So it's not to say, oh, this administration can come, they can quote the book, they can change things, the infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
Once somebody changes something, it will flag everything else and it will go against the integrity of what's already stored on the blockchain. But the aspect of validation, the aspect of decryption, that will automatically you'll be able to have that source of truth, right? And you, whoever have bought that land, had it surveyed, have a digital deed of it, you have your secret key, the encoding of it, right? That it can be decoded or it can be decrypted. Then now, if I say, hey, I bought a land from Joe Blow who sell me land, he has to give me something that is valid, right?
Right.
I have to go to say before now that I can do anything on our land to have all proof that it is legit. I got to go through that system of verification.
And that's a business right there. That
Yes, exactly so.
I don't think anyone has thought about these.
No.
These institutional voids.
Mhm.
Liberians got to start thinking from that point of view that the government cannot do everything,
Mhm.
and you don't have to go to government. Say if like say for instance, you want to set up a blockchain business for all 15 counties.
Mhm.
There are NGOs,
Mhm.
the World Bank. Those are the sort of businesses that they want to finance because they want to do everything that will ensure that one, the opportunity that you provide jobs, and expand the tax base in Liberia, so Liberia can start being a bigger nation.
Mhm.
And I have a book I was reading the other day, and this guy listed so many organizations because people go and say, well, the government is corrupt, I can't deal with them. He says, no, go around them. See, all these NGOs, and he listed a whole group. Said these people can finance you because they are running the show there in terms of government actually functioning. And I had a situation with a friend of mine. I'll tell you this story. He was a civil engineer in the States, So he decided to go back home uh, when President Salif came to, during her administration. And they had these bidding processes around. So he would apply. And every time, they wanted him to pay under the table. He's not that type. This guy used to be in the newspaper, he used to be on TV explaining, he was a project manager. That just wasn't him. So you know what he did? He went to the U.S. Embassy.
Oh, wow.
He showed them his portfolio. He identified himself. I'm an American citizen. The U.S. Embassy told him, said, don't worry about it. The first thing, we are building a new embassy. We want you to be one of the project managers. He said, don't worry about it. He said, most of the financing for this government, the Salif government, said, we see all the NGOs that they come to us, and you will be on all those projects, whatever project. And that fellow that's how he became rich, because he got frustrated with the government, the roadblocks, the corruption and all that, although they claim to have a PPCC or whatever they call it. And he went around them. And that's how he rebounded in society. He became very, very successful. But sometimes that's how you have to do it. The European Union, the Nordic nations, they all got they call them country representatives in Liberia. Go to those people, and you explain what you have. Well, I've got this blockchain business. Here's what's happening in Liberia. It's very easy to see. Yes, last week they were stabbing each other in Nimba County. I think you guys heard it.
Yeah. I hear
land dispute.
Yeah. Blockchain can solve that.
Yeah.
It can easily.
Sam, both you and Clara have a wealth of knowledge. Therefore, you have a diversified portfolio in your pipeline that needs to be harnessed. One of the main objectives of coming on the Problem Solver Foreign podcast is for the likes of you who are already successful to share your experiences so that you'll be able to inspire others. For the fact that Liberia has enormous opportunities. The same applies to the DRC. But we in the diaspora look at those opportunities as problems when in fact they aren't. And that is why expatriate businesses goes to our individual countries and do so well.
Exactly.
And we are on the outside looking in and complaining, as Joe just said, depending on the government to solve those problems, when we know very well that the governments are not so focused on solving those problems.
Right.
Most of the problems in Africa have to be solved from the private sector. And based on what Joe just said, that is exactly what we have to do. Go around the government. We are familiar with this saying, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And hearing the both of you today, I'm so impressed because you have a wealth of knowledge, or put it this way, as I said earlier, you need to diversify your portfolio. You still have a lot more to offer. I can see you're doing very well, but you can do even more. Okay. So you being on here is an inspiration to the likes of me, Joe, and others who will be watching this podcast. That's what it is about. The problem with us on social media, we're so focused on the problem and all the political stuff that's going on.
Yeah, the noise
is not helping. Those problems will not be solved unless we begin to take a closer look at the private sector and form collaborative partnership. Now, what you just explained to us is very innovative. And a lot of people don't even know that such an opportunity exists. So, we we on the problem solver podcast. That's what this is about, bringing you all out. I know a lot of you keep a low profile. We don't know what you're doing because you don't want people knowing your stuff, you know.
Okay.
But you have to put yourself out there. You never know who will benefit from what you are hiding. And the only people that would do that would be the expatriate businesses that are going to our countries, you know.
Right.
So I am so happy that the both of you took the time to come on here and share with us your wealth of experience. I mean, you guys can do even more than what you're doing right now. I mean, granted, you have 3 kids to
Mhm.
take care of, but we live in the age of technology where the global market has become so easy to access from your
Mhm.
home, like what we're doing right now. So we can do a lot,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm very impressed, and again, I want to applaud and commend the both of you for taking the time to come on here and share with us what you are doing and what you can do going forward. Joe,
And some
oh
some of
wait, excuse me, Joe. Perhaps Clara would like to say something.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you so much for having us here. We are so honored, and we just wanted to say thank you for having us. And for everyone out there, you just have to be determined and focused, and you can achieve anything that you put your mind to.
So
Just
true.
look
yeah.
at these questions.
And one
And
thing I wanted to say was that when you speak to entrepreneurs in Liberia, or potential entrepreneurs, one of the first things you say, oh, access to financing.
Mhm.
If you're a good entrepreneur, believe me,
Mhm.
the globe is now saturated with financing sources.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Just last year, they gave OPIC, the overseas. You probably heard of OPIC.
Mhm.
It's an American private sector development arm. They gave $20 million to a Liberian guy who says he to help nurture and develop SMEs in Liberia. $20 million.
Mhm.
Okay. We also have AGOA, which is the African Growth and Opportunity uh, Organization. They are designed to allow Liberian entrepreneurs
Mhm.
to manufacture in Liberia, put your made in Liberia stamp on whatever you manufacture. It could be T-shirt or whatever, and ship it to the United States duty free. But Liberians are not taking advantage of it. I was just looking at uh, the African profile of countries that are part of AGOA, and Liberia is just pretty much absent.
yeah.
Uh,
Yes,
I,
it's
I
pretty much absent.
I have a question.
But that said, we've got Liberians, like you guys. You also, like the guy who sold his company to Unilever for I think like almost $1 billion or so. Another Liberian I live in your neck of the wood, the New York area. I don't know if you live in New York, but uh, so yes, and there's a young Liberian lady in New Jersey. I think I was reading her profile. She's worth about $300 million.
I know who she is. Yes.
Yes, she owns a string of IHOPs and
Yes.
restaurants and all that. And,
Yeah. That's
and she
into
has
real
been
estate
to a
too.
refugee camp, but
Yes.
she just knew how to connect the dots.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm. Did Sam wants to say? Sam, did you want to say something?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, Sam.
Yeah. Okay. So the question that I have in terms, maybe you are privy to some of this information, uh, because we have we within our network, right? We work with different projects all around Africa, right?
Mhm.
I told you we're working on a couple with the Nigerian government, some things in Zambia and in Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I did something in Liberia, 2010, right?
Mhm.
Uh, the question that I have, right, and the same that I've looked at the political landscape or the things that have been dominating the press on social media, because now we're in the age of social media, right? Has to do with a lot of distracting things with something that are not substantive, right?
Yeah.
It's very polarizing. So the question that I have is, are you privy to any group, right, that is void of all of the noise, all of the polarizing, Every day you go is country versus conquer, diatribe, negativity, right? Do we have any? Because all the major news group that are going on Liberia, and I
Mhm.
say, hey, this request to kind of join, and then when you join, you think it's something that is positive and that is progressive and forward moving.
Mhm.
The content are not something that is engaging. It lacks kind of focus, and then it gets filtered in with all kind of crap, right? That has nothing to do with the cheap agenda, right?
Mhm.
Or if we have something, maybe you have knowledge to it, or you have that as part of the problem solver, right? So
Mhm.
like our mindset, what we do, there's the notion of what they call a backlog, right? And then
Mhm.
or epic, right? In the agile methodology, how the big companies around the world solve kind of problems, right?
Yeah.
They say, hey, this is a problem, at hand, or problems at hand. Then they say, okay, for every problem, we're going to create an epic. An epic is like, this is what we need to solve. From
Yeah.
that epic, you create backlog, right? Then you
Mhm.
do planning for each things that are feasible and highly probable. You put all those backlog into weird stories, right? And you create
Mhm.
what we call an MVP. You say, hey, we have 200 problems. We create epic of things that we want to do with all the problem. But the
Mhm.
realistic one, whether or not we have funding or ones that we can do, we put that into iterations of things we can do, and we set
Mhm.
different milestones to have those things done. So at least that way, if we're working collectively as a group, anybody who's in that group, everybody have the unique expertise of what they can do. You come together in that sense. So that's what I bring to all those people who invite me over. With my
Mhm.
knowledge of my wife, whether that is the Nigeria or the Cameroon or the Zambia, at least it's kind of organized. You can track it, and you know exactly what those milestones are against the biggest problem. And
Yeah.
then what we have for your sprints iteration of things that are scoped to say, hey, from now, from May until December, this is what we're going to accomplish. And we break everything down from those backlogs into user stories to address all those use case and get things done by the time we get to under December. So if there's any group that has a list of things that want, things
We need to get accomplished.
things that
Maybe
need to
maybe Chris can answer that
I
because
am. Go
Chris,
ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
maybe
Go
Chris
ahead.
can answer that because he's one of the business thought leaders in the African community in Massachusetts.
okay.
And he has led so many different delegations to Liberia in the past. So I think in terms of qualifications in answering that question, he wears the gown.
I am honored.
We gown him with that.
you, I am honored that you will speak so highly of me. But Sam, I am so glad
Hmm?
you mentioned that because you know what?
Hmm?
Recently, I became the president of the first Africa New England Chamber of Commerce here in Boston.
Congratulations.
And we are now collaborating with the city of Boston, the state and federal government officials here
Hmm?
to do exactly what you had just alluded to.
Hmm?
I've been to the continent many times, and I have had my share of challenges.
Hmm?
And so I thought it would be more effective if we created the first of its kind, I would say maybe in the Northeast,
Hmm?
an African Chamber of Commerce.
Hmm?
The African Growth Opportunity Act that Joe just mentioned, not only are Liberians absent when it comes to that, but even companies here in America.
Hmm?
So that's one of the niche that we have found here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I have brought it to the attention of the officials here during the previous administration of former Governor Duval Patrick. I've worked closely with them,
Hmm?
and I brought it to the forefront. We were in the process of having an international event when Ebola struck. So, folks here, when they hear Africa, they think that it's a country and not a continent. So they assumed that Ebola had just struck throughout the continent of Africa. And so we had to um, table the event, which was very heartbroken to me. So now we're back on the block and we have engaged officials. They all seem to be very much interested. In fact, I was just on a Zoom meeting with a counterpart
Mhm.
in Asia who said, "Hey, why don't you guys bring that here too to Asia?" He's from Liberia. He said, "We need that here." Okay,
Mhm.
because all of the projects that we have in our pipeline are for nation buildings to
Mhm.
transform the lives of those who are downtrodden. I have been to Liberia, I've been to Sierra Leone, we've been to Ghana, we have contacts in Kenya, and the list goes on. But the challenge have been trying to do the things that we thought would be so easy
Mhm.
working with government officials. So we said, you know what, we got to find a way around this.
Mhm.
And that's how come we decided to establish this Chamber of Commerce. And so far, it looks very promising. And I would definitely like to reach out to you, Sam, so
Okay.
that you can share with us
Mhm.
your creative ideas that I believe has a market.
Mhm.
And we can go ahead and harness that, okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's an honor, Chris and Joe. An honor, and we feel extremely privileged to be on your show and on your platform. And Chris, I've followed you, know all the great things that you've done. Even you share some pictures, with me, with people whom you met, a very transformative individual. And it's a good thing. Like our energy is all kind of positive, right? We're into that energy of positivity, and to see somebody who's blazing your respective trail as well and want to be part of anything that is positive to uplift our brothers and our sister is something that can be so infectious and be a beacon of hope and prosperity for the rest of Africa and the rest of the world. And Joe, very thankful for your platform. Also, partner with Chris, to promulgate this knowledge, right, that other people can partake in this
Right.
process. And hopefully we all have the same goals and same agenda and want to put forth Africa, Mama Liberia on the world map because there's so much that we're losing instead of gaining, and other countries are gaining ground around us and expatriates especially, and it doesn't make any sense. But again, we're very thankful and humbled to be part of your show and your agenda. So thank you, my wife and I, our household.
Wonderful. And you guys are trailblazers. I
Thank
want you to know
Oh,
that.
thank you. We
yeah,
Uh,
we
you're
really
welcome.
appreciate your presence.
Yeah.
And
Really.
we're definitely reciprocate other projects we're working on.
And I like your marketing strategy there, where you're looking at Africa as a block. You're just not focusing on one country,
Yeah.
but you're looking at you, you know a host of countries. Because that's the mistake some entrepreneurs make. They say, okay, I will just focus on Liberia. Liberia has a very small market. Why not just focus on Liberia, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Guinea, and
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 Thanks for giving us this opportunity to pick your brain, Mr. and Mrs. Massaquoi.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
We really do. It has been a pleasure and it has been a learning process for those who are interested in starting a business, you know? We pray and hope that this podcast will inspire many like yourself to follow your footsteps.
Right.
Africa has 54 countries. And how many billions of people, Joe? Well, I say what? Is it about 1.2 billion or is
Yeah.
it more?
Yeah. 1.2, but I don't think they're up to date on census in Africa. But
The average.
that's kind of like uh, a guesstimate.
Mhm. And then it's divided into three market region. You have COMISA, you have ECOWAS, and then you have the Minor River Union. Then you have the Africa Continental Free Trade
For the
on the
trade and
horizon.
after.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's the future looks so promising. I'll say to every African in the diaspora, get on board now, become creative, and start thinking outside of the box.
Right. Exactly. So once again, Mr. and Mrs. Massaquoi,
Yes.
we appreciate your presence.
Thank
Thanks a
you
lot.
so much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much.
And God bless you on this great Sunday, okay? God bless.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
All right,
Bye
take care.
bye. Hey,
Bye
see you
bye.
later. Right.
Bye. Very nice. Very nice. Wow, sure. That's nice. Okay.